So in 2010, I started to have a lot of ankle issues where it hurt to walk and all that wonderful stuff. And I went to one foot doctor who told me that I was just arthritic and that I was just chronic, cellulitis. And the symptoms weren't getting any better, and it just something wasn't adding up to me. I so I started to do my own research, and I came across this disease that I personally have never heard of called Charcot, CHARCOT, for those of you who would like to look it up. And I presented this information to him, and he told me pretty much that I was nuts and that was not what I had, and he refused to test me for it, and that he was very sure about the symptoms and the prognosis that he had originally given me. And I like nothing was helping. I was probably going about 4 months in and still having issues. And I mean, for example, bouncing back to June of 2010, night before I got married, I was running a very high fever and I was sick. And the next day, I could barely walk in my own wedding. And that's depressing to me, because I wanted to have a great day. I wanted to be able to walk. I wanted to be able to dance and have fun with my family and my friends and even my husband. And even on my honeymoon, I was sustained to a wheelchair almost the whole time. And that still bothers me till today. So, bouncing forward again, I, I said, I'm not going back to this doctor. This is not happening if he's not listening to me. What kind of faith can I have in that kind of doctor? So I switched to a different podiatrist, a foot and ankle specialist, to be exact, and he was immediately accepting to what I thought I had wrong with me. And so he looked at all the information that I brought with me. I brought all of my medical history, every piece of information, research that I had looked up. And I said, listen, this is what I think I have. What do you think? And so he said, well, he's like, let's take a look. So he sent me for testing, MRIs, all that stuff that he needed to do to figure out what was wrong with me. And the following week, when I went in to see him, he was astounded. And he personally said, he's like, I'm so surprised that you are even walking right now. He's like, you are pretty much walking on a severed ankle. I did not even have an ankle. My ankle was completely separated from the rest of my leg, and all I had holding on was a few ligaments and muscles, and very little cartilage left. He's like, we have to get you into surgery right away because this is what you have. You have Charcot, which is pretty much sums it up, a bone deficiency where it eliminates the cartilage in the foot. So he sent me in for surgery the following week. This was like in a matter of 3 weeks' time from the time I saw him to the time I had my surgery. And it was a 7 hour long surgery of reconstructive surgery. And I had that's when I had, and I still had my foot at that time. And so, weeks following, I actually gained a very serious staph infection in my foot because of the surgery. And from there on, I just continued to have very severe problems with my foot due to this surgery. Not that it was his fault, but I just have a very low immune problem due to, my anemia and all that. And so, in total, between 2011 to 2014, really, I had nearly 17 surgeries on my foot and leg. I've had two reconstructive surgeries, both requiring an external fixator. You know, those ones that you see when somebody breaks their neck and they have to wear. That's what I had on my foot, on my leg, sometimes up to 4 months. And it was miserable. And Then, starting in 2014 of August, I came down with what I personally thought was the flu. I was really sick for several days. It got to the point I couldn't even keep water down. I couldn't get out of bed. And so my husband's like, "We are taking you to the doctor, whether you like it or not." Because unfortunately, I'm a big baby when it comes to the doctors. I will not go to the doctors. But he took me to the emergency room, and they even at first thought that I had the flu or that I had some kind of infection going on somewhere, not my leg, because I wasn't having any pain, the normal symptoms that you would normally get with leg infections. So I wasn't even having swelling in the leg, it wasn't red or anything. And so originally they actually thought that it was my heart. And because my blood pressure was everywhere, my heartbeat was everywhere, and they admitted me, and they were supposed to be running a lot more testing. And 3 days into my stay at the hospital, all of a sudden, it was crazy. It was like my foot just, it blew up pretty much. Like it got 3 times the size. It got extremely red and extremely painful. And I had an old scar on my leg from my surgeries that had opened up into a wound. And they were very concerned about that. So they did a biopsy and they did all kinds of other testing that they needed to do. And they found out that I had an infection in my toes extending all the way up into my tibia bone. And my doctor was very honest with me, and he's like, well, he's like, I'll be brutally honest with you. He's like, I don't know if another reconstructive surgery will work for you. A lot of the bones are very damaged from the previous surgeries you've had and from the current infection that you do have. And there's no guarantee that in less than a year you will be right back in this hospital with another infection just because of how severe the infection is. And he's not sure if he can get it all with our basic reconstructive surgery. And he's like, but I will give you the option because I trust you, have faith, and you know your body. We can either A, do the complete reconstructive surgery, which will have no guarantee that you'll be able to walk again on it, or B, give you an amputation surgery where you will have a guaranteed 100% able to walk again and not have to worry about any more infections or problems with your leg ever again. So, it was a rather depressing time for me because I was losing my leg. This was my leg. So he's like, well, I'm like, well, I had this conversation with my husband too, and we both settled, okay, well, let's do the amputation. So that following week later, I had a below the knee amputation, and it was emotionally emotionally troubling for me because I didn't have my leg anymore. So that is my story of how I lost my leg, and I'll be posting more videos about my recovery and the fancy new leg that I got and just my journey through a year and a half. So keep watching, and thank you, and please subscribe to this channel as you will be expecting more videos. Thank you. Bye.